Hello and welcome to the Arsenal BiteSize Podcast. I'm your host Clayton at Clates AFC, and he's back. My partner in crime, FL Nima, he's back. How you doing? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Nice win at the Emirates. Very happy to see that performance from the lads and quiet in the haters. Yeah, I'm in a good mood, good spirits. Burnley at home this weekend.
Yeah, it should be
Really
a good one.
excited.
I think, yeah, you're right. Obviously, after the I'm trying to think what the word I'm looking for is. What happened at Newcastle? I'm trying to swear less, so that's why I was like thinking what words could I use. But after Newcastle last week, I think we bounced back really nicely against Sevilla, and yeah, Wednesday was good. Obviously, I did a solo pod yesterday with my thoughts on that. But do you want to add your two pence on what you thought of the Seville game midweek?
Yeah, so for me, there was one stat I saw floating around about Martinelli having kind of beaten his defender with dribbles one on one like 8 times in the game or something, which is the most in like 10 years in Champions League, every game of the Champions League in 10 years. So,
Really? Fuck!
yeah, yeah,
I
some
knew the stat
crazy
around eight
numbers.
times. I didn't realize it was the most in that amount of
In
time.
like in almost a decade, yeah. So, and I think the reason I just want to call that out is because before in the summer and the preseason expectations, I think I was saying very early on that I felt that Europe would finally get people outside of England to see truly what a rock star Martinelli is, because
Yeah.
we've missed him, and it's just nice to see him there, fit, ready to go, and add a new, I guess, a new layer to our attack. He just provides something different that I don't think anyone else has that exact same skill set as him in our team. And I
Yeah.
felt we were a bit one dimensional without him when he was out earlier in the season. So it's very nice to see him back. Very happy to see how he did.
Nice. And yeah, hopefully we continue with that momentum as we head into tomorrow. So I guess we'll go predicted lineups. So obviously Tomiyasu went off, Saka went off. Arteta's press conference is at 1:30 today, so we are shooting in the dark a little bit. For the podcast listeners on screen, I've got the team that played against Newcastle. So it was David Raya in goal, back four was White, Saliba, Gabriel, Tomiyasu. Midfield three was Rice, Jorginho, Rice, and Havertz. And then the front three was Martinelli and Ketia and Saka. And obviously, like I said, that's the Newcastle game. The Sevilla one was different. So Tomiyasu Saka went off, and Ketia has got a knock. Trossard came in, did really well midweek. So do you want to have a stab at? Well, I guess first of all, before we go into lineups, are you concerned by Saka, or do you think it's another one of his that he's gone off and he'll be fine?
I'm more concerned about him starting than I am about Gabriel. I know that a
Okay.
lot of people, so a lot of people are worried that like, oh, Gabriel might get another one of these benchings at home in an easy fixture where we expect to dominate like the Sheffield game, right?
Yep.
That,
Sheffield United.
yeah. Oh, sorry,
Remember?
Sheffield United. I remember. Yeah, I remember this. I've already been told off about this by listeners as well since you
Oh,
mentioned it.
is it?
I've noticed it more since you mentioned it. It is a thing. So sorry, Sheffield United. But yeah, so I'm actually more confident of Gabriel starting here than I am with Saka. I think
Go on,
what
talk
concerns
me
me
through
about
it.
Saka
Talk me
is
through your Gabriel one.
the Gabriel. So there's just I just don't see any reason for him to be benched. Like I think it was one of those where when he played midweek and the weekend, obviously there was leaks going out that Gabriel was benched in the midweek.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have liked that because then that makes me think Gabriel's like a tactical choice in lineups. It's like he'll play versus certain opponents, not others, and that's not what I wanted. Like an FP from an FPL point of view.
Sure.
Whereas when he played these games, that must-win games, I'm like, okay, like he is first choice. He played 2 games for Brazil last international break. Saliba didn't. He was given off time to rest. You know, like okay, let's just. It must be rest this time. It's different to when Party was fit playing inverted right, but like this is different, is the way I look
Yeah.
at it. And it's just so I feel like he is clear first choice. It's not tactically sometimes someone else will play. So that's where I feel more reassured about him starting this weekend, and he is in
Cool.
my team. Saka is someone who I would have loved to captain this week against Burnley at home, but with the
Same.
doubts, it's really put me off.
Do
And
you own
it's
Salah?
I do. So it's on him at the moment on my bus team, just because it's, a home fixture, 90 minutes probably, penalties, all that good stuff. I think Saka, my concern about him is that, like, this is what happened last time, where, like, he got called up for England for the international break in the last month. He didn't make the fixture before it against City, and then bang, he also pulls out of the England team.
Yeah.
My worry is what is the process, because if he misses this game and then he goes and does a checkup with England separately anyway, and still goes to the England game, then I want him to bloody start this weekend.
Oh,
If I'm
I
honest,
think
it's either
if
miss all of it or miss none of it, is my opinion.
that's what I think will happen, though. I think if he's not, well, obviously, if he's not fit, he won't play tomorrow, and I don't think he'll go away with England. But if he is fit, I think he'll be in the team tomorrow and probably go away with England. But to add my 2 pence, I am concerned by this one. I feel like I say, Saka goes down a lot, right? And it's something that unfortunately we've just become used to. Like, oh yeah, it's one like add it to his CV, like he's gone off again injured. This one concerned me because I can't remember specifically what happened, but I just remember being sat there with my mate, and for whatever reason, I was actually hyper focused on Saka. I want to say, like, did he have the ball or something? I can't remember, but the way he went down concerned me because there wasn't impact and there wasn't anyone like necessarily
I
next
think
to
he
him.
was jumping. I think he was at landing from a jump.
Okay, and that's
Yeah,
what
like I've watched the
concerns me.
replay, and that was very weird. Like no one, he wasn't challenging with his feet on the ball. Like he just kind of landed, and then it's like almost like he twisted or rolled his
Yeah,
ankle, maybe.
and like I say, I can't remember this, but I believe you. I just can't remember specifically for myself what happened. I just remember my feeling being, damn, that's concerning because it wasn't an impact thing by a
Mm.
fellow professional. It was more like you say, potentially landing or the way he moved, and that's what concerned me. And as a result, like my gut right now is telling me that it, even if it's a slight injury, we just won't risk him tomorrow, and we'll
You would
trust that
think
we
in a
have
game
enough.
like tomorrow, surely you don't risk him, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, like
and as a
surely.
result, withdraw him from the England squad.
So
So
then, what
that's
does that
my
mean for the lineup? Because obviously, with Jesus out as well, Smith Rowe
well.
out as well, it's
So
kind of like
should we
Trossard
run through
and
it?
yeah, let's do that because obviously Eddie, we don't know about the presses yet. I know he'd missed
Yeah,
training; he wasn't in the game. Odegaard is a tout, so it's like my thinking is if the likes of say Odegaard and Eddie are both out, I reckon even if Saka's just a slight worry or doubt,
you think
I
he'll just
reckon
go
he'll be
with him?
forced through.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like
okay,
it's
that
almost like
makes
too
sense.
many changes because we're now obviously we've dropped points in the league where we want to bounce back from our last league game. We're 3 points behind City. Like even though it's Burnley home, like I think we can't underestimate how much these lads want to win every game. And we saw it from Leo's interview after the UCL. They said to him like, you need 1 point to qualify in the group in the next 2 games, and how do you feel and all this? And he just said we want to win every game. We want to win both
Yeah,
those games, and our focus is to beat Lens at home in the next game. Like it was just
yeah.
that is the mentality he's trying to drill into these guys. So I
Oh,
do
I
think that
don't doubt that. I think more. I probably didn't frame my opinion better. I'm actually concerned that Saka has a genuine knock.
no,
Is
you think
more
it's
where I.
genuine enough where
Yeah,
regardless of whether we need him or not, we just cannot use him. Yeah,
yeah. Like just
I'm
from
I'm
the
trying to be
way.
blindly optimistic and avoid that
Nice. Yeah. But I
parallel
guess
universe
with
where
that in
he's
mind,
injured.
should we go through it? I guess can I just add my 2 pence on the
Yeah, yeah.
Gabriel thing? Um, I think it's not a case of resting Gabriel and or Saliba. I think it's more giving a player like Kiwi minutes, and it's a case of it's games against Sheffield United and Burnley where you can give him minutes because he's a player that I do personally think that Arsenal fans are going a bit OTT on how good Kiwior is. Like I think he's good, but I think I'm seeing him overrated a little bit based on the small sample size we've seen. But he's a player that's good enough and should have had more minutes than he has. So that's why I look at it as
Hmm.
it's nothing to do with Gabriel not being first choice. It's just more, it's the ability to give someone of Kivior's ability minutes against opposition that aren't great. And I think one of Gabriel and or Saliba will make way for Kivior tomorrow. Just purely
It's
because
very it's possible. It feels like this is the game, right? If there was a game,
yeah.
this is that game.
So with that in mind, shall we run through the team?
Yeah. So
And
do you
obviously
think
for
Raya
all of
starts in goal?
yeah, I was just going to say for all of the
Okay.
podcast listeners to timestamp this, it's currently 11:45 UK time on Friday, and it's prior to Arteta's press conference, so we are shooting in the dark a bit, but let's go for it. Yeah, I think Raya will be in goal. I don't think that's a debate at
Hmm.
all, in my opinion. Fuck it, let's just go for the whole team. For
Yeah.
me, I think it's going to be Ben White, Saliba, Kiwi, or Zinchenko.
Okay.
A midfield three of Jorginho, Rice, and Havertz. And no, sorry, I'm changing my mind. I think it's going to be a midfield three. No. I'm sticking with that. I was thinking, is he going to go Vieira? So midfield three: Jorginho, Rice, Havertz. Havertz right eight, Rice left eight, and I think the front three is going to be Martinelli on the left, Trossard false nine, and I think it's going to be Reece Nelson. I don't think Saka's going to be fit.
I think it will be the team from the UCL night.
Yep.
With Reece Nelson instead of Saka.
Okay.
And Zinchenko instead of Tomiyasu. I think
Sure.
those are the two changes I see.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't think Vieira gets his start. I don't think Odegaard gets his start, but comes off the bench.
Yeah. Same.
That's the way I'm kind of looking at it. Like,
the reason I hesitated when I said my midfield was I was looking at someone like Jorginho, and he's played quite a lot recently, right? And a Burnley game, like a Sevilla game, feels like it suits Jorginho to a T. But I was just thinking, like, has he got the legs for it with how much he's played? And then I was thinking, a midfield, like an opposition like Burnley, Vieira should be fine. And a midfield three of Vieira, Rice, and Havertz. So that's why I was kind of doubting myself a little bit.
But just, I don't think I see Odegaard. Obviously, if the presser says like, "Oh, Odegaard's fully fit," but Arteta's never going to say that. We know what he's like in his press conferences. Why would you tell the opposition if someone is literally going to start or not of Odegaard's quality? You keep them guessing. Same with Saka. I doubt we get anything that actually really makes you feel confident either way that Saka or Odegaard is starting.
We'll probably get more information through leaks and the embargoed stuff tonight. To be honest,
I'll look forward to that 10 p.m. embargo or whatever it is. Just whatever doesn't make it out the original press conference. But shout out to a couple of the guys, by the way. So Pontus, nice to see you here live. Delia as well. Good morning. Good to see you.
Delia.
Lovely to see everyone here. So I think from a lineup prediction point of view, we're quite similar. Then I guess I would love to think Saka plays, but Nelson also probably needs some minutes himself. The same thing you were saying about Kiwior and the type of game to give it to them in.
Well, but
I'd really like to think Kiwior doesn't play this one, or maybe plays at left back.
When I say stuff like that, though, I think it's like there's a ranking tier of players, right? And Kiwior is in a ranking tier ahead of Nelson, in my opinion. So I don't quite think Nelson needs minutes as much as a Kiwior level ability.
Nelson doesn't have suitors trying to buy him on or get him on loan like Kiwior Seville wanted him in the summer. Arteta blocked it because he wants him here. There's loads of clubs across Europe trying to buy him in case he doesn't get enough minutes. So I don't think we have that problem with Nelson. No offense to him. With Kiwior, like ultimately, I think what he brings is he is very good on the ball. I'd say more so than Gabriel, whereas Gabriel's the better defender. So I think in a game where you think maybe you're going to be more in possession, that Sheffield game, right? Kiwior, it wasn't just a rest thing. It's like Kiwior needs minutes. It's not just Gabriel rest. Kiwior needs minutes. And secondly, if you don't get him ready now, what are you going to do when we're deeper in these cups? If we get through to future rounds of the UCL, the FA Cup, and you've got important games coming thick and fast in February, March, April, are you going to give Kiwior his first minutes then? You need to get them ready now. That's the way I look at it. Like build those relationships now. Like,
and that's exactly why I look at it as it's a fixture like now, like Burnley at home, because then we've got Brentford away. I don't think he'll be doing it there. Wolves at home, okay, granted, like we should win that. I still don't think he'll do it there. Luton away, that's even though it's a Luton, that screams a Gabriel game in terms of physicality. Villa away, there's no way he'd do it there. And then Brighton at home, they're a tough opponent. Liverpool away, and that's why it just to me.
So there's very few opportunities. Damn.
And that's why to me I'm reverse engineering it, and it looks like the opportunity to do it. The only other one I could see 2 times are in Europe, Lens at home and PSV away, assuming we've won the group by then. But I just feel like he's better. He's a better player than the opportunities he's had, if that makes sense. Which
if he was somewhere else, that's why like Seville wanted him on loan, right, to play every game, or other clubs are looking to buy him next summer because they're like, if he doesn't quite bed in, like there's a player there, he's young, we can sculpt him, let's take him. I think his ability to switch to either side from centre back, it reminds me a bit of Joaquim Anderson from Crystal Palace, just in terms of just that techers. Like he's got that. It's just something about him. Like I honestly think he could like be like an Alex Song. Like I could see him
Oh,
playing even
fucking hell.
CDM.
I've got a lot of strong opinions about Alex. I'd never rated him as highly as other Arsenal fans did,
I didn't
personally.
rate him once he went to Barcelona, but there was a lot of assists from him from those
His
deep balls,
passing
right?
was good. I've got so many strong
What
opinions
was it?
about
Those
that guy's
Hollywood
defensively.
passes from
Yeah.
who's Voldemort? What's his name? The English player who looks like Voldemort. He
Oh,
does
John
those
Joe
Hollywood
Shelby.
Shelby with his Hollywood passes. That Alex Song was basically like that, yeah. But
Yeah. No,
you made me laugh. So what do you think about Burnley then? Should we talk about their lineup? Because obviously we've heard
yeah.
the very sad news about Lau Foster. He's
Yeah.
struggling
Fair
with
play to
mental
him for
health stuff.
speaking out as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing for someone in that position to kind of make themselves vulnerable and talk about where they're at. I think not enough men talk about how they feel and their mental health, and they really
100%. Yeah.
bottle it up. So really think that's a good thing he's done there. But really
Yeah.
sad for him and wish him a swift recovery. But
Yeah.
he
Well
is
said.
also, I think, their best player, right, in terms of attack. So
And that's why I look at our team and like, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's a game where you should play Nelson for the sake of it, but that's why you look at their team. And so the team that they put out when they lost 2-0 to Crystal Palace was Trafford in goal. Backfour was Vitinha, O'Shea, Bayer, Taylor. Midfield four was Goodmanson, Burge, Brownhill, and Kalisho. And then up top it was Jay Rodriguez and Amdouni. And I just think that's a championship team. And famous last words, like if we slip up. But tactically, and this is why I think the likes of Zinchenko, Kiwi have a really good chance of playing, because ball progression and even Jorginho, I just think it's going to be a case of manipulating numerical overloads all over the pitch, have 3v2s everywhere, create space with running cleverly, like how Declan Rice did midweek, and just create space everywhere. And I think Trossard as a false nine gives us so much more fluidity wise than Nketiah does, in terms of how he links the overall midfield and attack. So that's the Burnley lineup, but I feel like we should have more than enough to put them away, and that's why it'll be interesting to see what he does in defence. It's sitting on the fence, but I literally can see him sticking with the same back four because there's an international break coming up. And then
that's
on
the
the
other
other
thing I
hand,
was thinking about. Yeah, but then equally, you're like, is Dan Gabriel going to go play 2 more 90 minutes for
yeah.
Brazil again?
And the thing I'll stress is this, like the one thing I want to stress, which I've said, is it's not me thinking Gabriel Saliba needs rest. It's just a case of giving someone like Kiwi or who's good enough actual game time. That's all it is. But yeah, with all of that in mind, score predictions. I've not gone for the graphic because we've kind of cocked up the last few weeks and I've not actually registered on our little spreadsheet. But that's fine. We can still give score predictions and we'll remember to see how we got on. How are you feeling for this one?
I
Is it going to
feel
be
very
another Sheffield
positive.
United 5-0?
That's what I'm hoping. I'd like to think so. Like go into the international break in good mood, make a statement. We have to get a win here. And City away at Chelsea, never say never.
Never say never, yeah. So
We
go
could
on.
end this international break level on points again. So
I know.
we have to go and get that goal difference as much in our favor as we can. This is there are a few games a season where you make up your goal difference. This is one of them. So for me, I'm looking at 3-0 minimum is the floor.
Okay.
I think is what I would have said about Sheffield too. It's like the floor is 3-0. I'm expecting it's just whether we keep the foot on the gas at 3-0 and go up to 4-5-0, or do we just like kind of see it out and then concede a random goal at the Emirates like we always do? There's also
Yeah.
that option
What
here. So
what are you going with them?
I'm between a 4-0 and a 3-1. It's just I don't know
A
whether we're going to keep
3-1.
off.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't know if we're going to keep our foot on that pedal right in the end. Let's go with 4-0.
4-0. Nice. Like it. I'm similar. I'm going 3-0. I think it will be a gear two kind of game, similar to Sheffield United. It's that Sheffield United game. I said this in the one of the pods. It literally felt like a pre-season friendly. And even though it was boring, which sounds stupid because we won 5-0, that's exactly what we need to just coast through these games in second gear, get the job done, and move on injury free. Yeah, just seeing you pulled up. Pontus said 3-0.
Yeah.
So
Anyone
yeah,
else?
let us know what you think. Obviously, we've
Should
got to
we?
wrap up in a bit, but we've got time for one question
I was going to say,
from
let's take Delia's question.
yeah.
So we have a question about Odegaard here for the podcast listeners. Why is it so hard to have any clarity on Odegaard's situation? Do you know more about it? I guess do you know much about it? My understanding was that it's it's like nothing to be concerned about long term, but it's like something that needs to be dealt with, and it's just complex. Is the way that kind of in between reading between the lines of the stuff I've seen coming out. I do wonder if it's family related or some kind of mental health situation as well. That's another thing. Like I just
I
don't
don't
know
know.
something there.
I think
Equally,
with
they
stuff
said he's
like
been carrying a knock right for a long time, so
oh,
he's been
that's
playing with
right.
injury for most of the season. And is it that it's not a serious concern, but they just need to rest it? It might be one of those types of injuries where it's not going to get better if
But you
he
could,
plays. But if he takes two,
yeah,
3, 4 weeks off, he's fine. But by not
exactly.
doing that, he's almost just always going to be in that red zone waiting to pull up because he's just
Yeah, and
constantly playing
to
through.
be honest, we like I guess the question's split into two, right? Why is it so hard to have any clarity? Because Arteta keeps his cards close to his chest. He doesn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough. And so as a result, I don't like to speculate on stuff like that. It could be anything, but where we have no information, literally we have no idea. So there's no point speculating. And yeah, as a result, no, we don't know anything more about it. Just have to kind of take it day by day, unfortunately. But yeah, so we'll wait and see what Arteta says in his presser. But I'm working on the assumption that he's going to miss this game, rest up in the international break, come back. And then final question, because then I do have to go and shoot.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's say this last one and we'll let you get out of here.
What Blue Danube Joe, thanks for tuning in, mate. Watkins or Tony a better fit for Arsenal? Neither for me. I want Osimhen. We're a level above them now.
I would love Osman. I don't know if we can get him. I would love Osman. If we're going
I
to
think
blow
we
the bank,
definitely can get him.
I would love Osman. I've got bigger ambitions than that. I want Mbappe, Project Mbappe 2024 summer. Here we come, you Gunners. But yeah, that's my dreams and hopes because I saw a tweet saying that Madrid have pulled out. But I hear that, every year that comes out as some kind of leak. And it's a bit earlier than normal this year. But
Yeah.
I'm sure Madrid will be back in soon. But for
If I
now,
if I did have to pick one of the two, it would be Tony for me in terms of profile of fit and his ability to link play and stuff. Watkins feels like more runs the channels and stuff, but I genuinely feel we're a level above both of them right now. I genuinely think that next attack piece needs to be a signing like Rice that lifts the whole level and takes you another gear up. And I don't think either of them do it. Even Tony, like I know one of my good mates, Andrew, he loves Tony, and I've been similarly wired to in the way he thinks, but I've gone off Tony. I feel like we need someone to take us up a gear.
I think it blocks a longer term signing like an Evan Ferguson, who I'd also love to
Yeah,
see, given
exactly.
someone young like that. But yeah, let's get out of here.
Yeah,
We will talk more about January and other injured players and maybe what we need to strengthen the squad for the push to the end of the season in a future episode, I'm sure. So
yeah, definitely.
today,
Sounds good.
let's just I think we've done a good enough preview of Burnley, and then there's a lot of other exciting things to talk about coming into January for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll be doing the review, speaking to a couple of people because Nima won't be able to do the Burnley review. So, speaking to a couple of people to try and get that date organized. And I will tweet out when that will be. But hopefully, another nice win coming tomorrow. Hopefully, it's a nice, relaxing one. International break, rest up, and then let's hit the run in to Christmas, where we've got on paper decent stretch of fixtures. So let's try head into Christmas strong, win the Champions League group, and let's reassess in January. But that was everything from us. Up the Arsenal. Cheers, everyone.
Up the Arsenal. Come on, you guys.